Hello everyone, welcome to the round 2 recap of the ongoing tournament candidates in Cyprus. We will take a look at the game between Sindarov and Bluebaum. And after e4 by Sindarov, the game started as a pattern of defense. White played knight e5. Here the alternative was to play d4. This is the second major branch of the pattern of defense. But okay, white played knight e5, d6, and now the most common in 99% of games is the retreat to f3, and now for example after knight e4, d4, d5, bishop d3, we have some sort of pattern of tabia that was seen in millions of games, and it was particularly popular in the match for the World Championship crown between Kasparov and Karpov. But instead of that, there is also possibility to play knight c4. This is also kind of rare move, but Sindarov played knight d3, which I don't remember seeing ever at the grandmaster level. His idea is to transfer the knight to f4 and to control the d5 square. It is also probably his idea to take the Bluebaum out of his preparation. Now queen e2, the knight is pinned, black has to respond in kind, and after knight f4, he's threatening knight d5, black is playing c6 just to stop that from happening, and now f3. Also is possible d3, knight f6, but we will see that later that f3 had one particular idea, later expansion on the king's side. Okay, knight f6, and now d4. And now black plays bishop f5, attacking the pawn on c2. The pawn cannot be defended because the queen is pinned along the e file. So for example, if h4, you can just take the pawn. And instead of that, white played c3. Also c4 was possible also. He played c3, and now black exchanges the queens on e2. h5, this is a very useful move, as I was mentioning a couple of moves back. The idea behind f3 was to prepare g4, h4, h5, g5 at once, seizing the space on the king's side and pushing the black kings back, black pieces back. So for this reason, black played h5 to prevent it, and white decided to start developing the remaining pieces, knight and bishop. Black follows in the same fashion, and after knight c4, knight c7. The idea is that knight from here has a couple of good squares, b5, not that great, but d5 or e6 are really good posts for the knight. Knight e3, attacking the bishop, and now bishop goes back. So at this moment, black also threatens to advance his pawns, and for this reason, white plays h4 to prevent the advance. And now king d7. Since the queens are exchanged and there is no real danger in the position, black can afford not to make the long castle. Also, king on d7 is one square closer to the center than on c8, so it's a very good move to play. And white responds in a similar fashion. He is not castling, he is tucking in his king here on a very safe f2 square. Black is taking the file with his rook, and now g3, slightly mysterious move. During the live commentary of the games, we did not really understand what was the idea behind it. We will see very soon that there is an idea behind it, but we thought maybe that d5 would have been maybe a little bit stronger, just to see some space in the center to prevent black from playing his own d5, bishop d6. Also, d5 takes away the beautiful e6 square from this knight, so it was a very useful move. Here black should not be taking the pawn, but if he was feeling like grabbing a pawn with cd5, and now white is preparing to recapture with rook d1, and black is persistently defending the pawn with king c6. Black has an amazing move, a4. Why a4? It's not attacking this pawn, no, but it's preparing bishop b5. This skewer. And here, for example, if black plays something neutral, rook g8, for example, and you take on d5, and black takes, and now you should not be rushing to take knight d5 and calculating knight d5, bishop b5 to take the rook, because here black will not take your knight, instead he will take your bishop. And why? This is the move. It comes with check, so it has greater force than the threat to your knight. You have to take. Now, after recapturing, black has cleared 2 minor pieces for the rook, and the material advantage is significant. For this reason, instead of taking here knight d5, you have to switch the move order and play bishop b5 first, check. So black has to take it like this, you take it, another check, and after they come here, you recapture the knight. Now white is a pawn down, but the position is overwhelming, because first of all you're threatening knight c7 with this fork. Also a7 is hanging, the king is really out of his place here on b5, and his pieces are still passive there, so for this reason white is much better. This was just an illustration of the tactical possibilities that can arise very quickly, even if the position is so quiet and calm. Okay, let's go back. So d5, here on d5 we suggest black not to take. Instead of d5 he played g3. A mysterious move, but soon we will see what was the point. Knight e6. Now the idea is to offer the exchange of the knights, why not? And also this is a nice square for the knight. Next will come d5, bishop d6. But white is avoiding the trade, so he's trying to find some better squares for his pieces, and maybe even to keep more pieces on the board just to retain some pressure. And now d5, black wants to develop his bishop to d6. And knight g5. So you might be wondering, why is white spending 2 moves to first avoid the exchange, and now 1 move later he's offering exchange of the same pieces? Yes, but not of the same square. So not on f4, he's offering the exchange of the pieces on g5. And this would have been bad for black, by the way, because now this pawn is losing the defender, knight g8, and even further trouble is coming with bishop d3, and this nasty pin is intensifying. So for this reason, black is not taking on g5, of course. He's playing bishop g6, protecting the pawn that was under attack. And now white plays bishop f1. Now we see the idea behind g3 that was played before. So he wants to transfer his bishop to a better diagonal and to keep the black king in the pin. Black plays knight h7. He wants to trade the knight on g5, but again, he's trying to impose his own terms. He does not want to use this knight. He wants to exchange with the knight from h7, and this would be a good one because now bishop is protecting the pawn. Okay, white continues with his plan, bishop h3, posing this pin, and black takes g5 and plays king c7. So the idea behind the king c7 is just to step out of the pin and to threaten the pawn on g5. For example, here, if f4, threatening something like this, it's not really the best way to play, because now you are allowing black bishop to go into e4, and this pawn is no longer hanging, it's quite safe. It's good to keep the pawn here and to limit black pieces. Okay, back to the game. Trade g5, king c7 we saw, and now knight f5. The knight is occupying a dominant square, and it's also open diagonal for bishop to protect the pawn. This is all nice, but black can use this opportunity to exchange a pair of pieces, even if it's costing him the bishop's pair. He doesn't care, he just wants to exchange another pair and to drop the pressure. My colleagues suggested that instead of knight f5, white could have played knight g2. A mysterious move. For us, it's not really intuitive to retreat back with pieces. We always want to go forward. But this move has a very particular idea. For example, if there is a normal development, like black and white plan to continue ahead, bishop d6, bishop d2, connecting the rooks. This is all fine. And now, for example, bishop d3, we want to support our pawn on h5 with the other pawn. Rook e1, g6, and now to enforce this exchange, bishop e6. And the point is that you cannot take with the rook. White takes with the rook, pawn takes, and now g4. And this pin on the h file gets reactivated again. So instead of taking with the rook, you have to take with the pawn. Here, take with the pawn. But now bishop f4 is very powerful. Black cannot avoid the exchange of the dark square bishops, and he will remain with the light square bishop that is poorly placed because all his pawns are on white squares. And that's why this bishop is bad. When you have light square bishop, you want to put your pawns on the dark squares, because they're not, at that situation, they're not obstructing each other, and they're complementary. So they're covering all squares. Instead, like this, they're covering only white squares, and dark squares are critically weak. So, for example, particularly in e5, you can just pile his pieces there. And we believe that here white would have a very nice advantage. It's not clear why Sindarov skipped this line. Perhaps he was not even considering. Perhaps he was drawn with the active placement of knight on f5 here. But this helped black to liquidate the position a little bit. Now h5 is supported, so his rook will be free to move. Bishop goes in, white bishop also, and he's preparing to double the rooks on the e-file because this pawn is now protected by the pawn. Okay. White is challenging the e-file, and now he wants to push f5. Allowing f5 and fg6 would be very dangerous. Luckily for black, he has a very simple way to prevent it. Just knight will block the square. So white exchanged one pair of rooks. He's keeping the other pair of rooks on the board, still trying to find some kind of advantage. And this mysterious move has an interesting idea behind, as we will see on white's g4, where he was hoping to open the h file. Black responded with a beautiful f5, and this kills all the tension on the king side and equalizes the game. So for example, if you take with gf, you can take with the rook. Now this one is hanging, and this position is equal. The alternative is to take on on f5, and after knight f5, this knight has a perfect outpost here, so you cannot claim any advantage. In the game, we had taking on h5, and after knight h5, the knight is supported by the pawn. This was under attack, so bishop d2, and now rook h8. Just be careful here not to fall for rook e8. In this case, there is bishop f5, and white wins the pawn. So this was one of the last tricks in the position for Sindarov. So Bluebaum played rook h8, and now rook h7. He probably wanted just to play on these two squares. So now bishop f5 can come in, but it's not bringing anything concrete. So you want to use the fact that the rook is tight for the knight to push the pawn. He forfeits the piece back, and now instead of taking here and allowing rook f5, he first plays king e6, protecting this pawn, and then this one will fall. And here they repeated the moves for the draw. Okay, that was it for round 2. All 4 games were drawn. Tomorrow we have round 3, and hoping for some decisive results. Thank you all for watching, and see you soon. Bye bye.